Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a good Monday. Hope you had a good weekend. It's Monday, September 12th, 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm in a top fishing trade at the moment. Need to take a little bit of profit, but NVDA scouting an hourly lower high versus the high of the day. We had a little news bump. And when we broke resistance with zero follow through, I grabbed some short. Just going to take some partial profits, get more comfy. And then we'll check out the crypto charts and everything else. Solid bull weekend in crypto. Setting a stop loss. Okay. Thanks for your patience. Before we get into it, we got a new free ebook, 3 chart patterns that are essential to learn if you are looking to be a profitable trader. Posting that in the comments right now. Free ebook, top 3 chart patterns to master. Worth checking out. All right, so the NASDAQ. Impressive bull control this morning overall, where we are seeing the daily bounce that started last Wednesday following through today. Crypto bulls kept the bounce going all weekend. And so the question that I had heading into the start of this week is, when are we going to top out and see daily consolidation take place? So I headed into today keeping an eye out for any signs of bulls tiring and any sign that bears were looking to take over. And this morning, the bulls proved themselves. And really all it is Apple. Today is Apple Day because Apple's up 4% and it's up way more than any tech name on my screen. And I'm just watching it single-handedly hold up a ton of individual names and sectors. So Apple extremely strong today. And again, it's just, look at the 5-minute time frame on Apple, just straight up all day. And you look at QQQ and it's had a lot more volatility, but Apple is the largest holdings in QQQ, and it's not going to see much weakness if Apple stays strong. So overall, bulls still in complete control on the NASDAQ, daily bounce still underway, and still in an hourly uptrend with EMA 12 support. You can see that the NASDAQ futures chart here on the hourly has been holding EMA 12 support over the last 4 trading days. If we look at the dollar, we've got the dollar pulling back fairly notably over the last few days. What I need to see is the opposite of what crypto bulls and stock bulls need to see. Stock bulls need to see daily higher lows and higher highs. Bitcoin needs a daily higher low and higher high next time we see consolidation. The dollar needs a daily lower high and lower low to prove a downtrend. We lost the daily uptrend. Can we confirm a daily downtrend the next time we get a bounce going? That would be best case scenario for broader market and crypto bulls if the dollar confirms a daily downtrend. So we're keeping an eye on that this week as well. Bitcoin divided by the NASDAQ is showing us relative strength continuing to be gained. We went up over the weekend. I'm now watching the weekly. The weekly is in a downtrend. The bulls have to prove that they are shifting momentum. So just weekly lower highs here. And if Bitcoin bulls can prove that they are taking out the weekly lower high resistances of this market correlation chart, then that's going to be notable to me, showing some risk on mindset. And again, risk on mindset means money, traders, investors, whoever, they're willing to trade higher risk, higher reward names because they have more confidence in the overall market. And of course, when the market has fear and weakness, we see things tighten up. So that's certainly been the case with the pullback in crypto being much more significant, the pullback in growth stocks over the last year, much more significant. And so we're watching for signs that that is shifting. And as long as this chart is in a weekly downtrend, the answer is no, that is not shifting. So this is just another chart we're keeping an eye on of the weekly downtrend. So Bitcoin, congrats to the bulls, because holding up as well as they did over the weekend is definitely a solid win. We saw the big bull move on Friday. That certainly got our attention for the bulls, but then to just keep grinding higher, holding 4-hour EMA 12 the entire time is impressive. The 12-hour time frame has barely started consolidation at any point since the 18.5 low. So we essentially saw a bounce from the low of 20% with very little consolidation. Just a slow grind up still. So for me, when we see Bitcoin lose 4-hour EMA 12, that's going to be the first indication for me that daily consolidation is shaping up. We are going to anticipate that daily higher lows are the most likely scenario from here. On names that had more significant bounces, that is a more likely scenario. So for example, Bitcoin, tons of space for a higher low on the daily. We've got QQQ, the S&P 500. They've got space for the daily higher low to be the result of next consolidation. At the moment, we have a potential hourly head and shoulders forming. Left shoulder, head, and this may be the right shoulder. You can see our support is 21,975 and 22. So pretty much a double bottom on the hourly. So if we were to roll over and break that support, we would then look to test 4-hour EMA 12 right after that. So potential hourly head and shoulders, but we know the burden of proof is on the bears because the bears have not proven anything to us over the last 4 days. We've got an uptrending resistance line we can keep an eye on. A little bit of a pullback right now in QQQ. The question for the rest of the day, 2 hour and 50 minutes left in the trading day. The question is, can QQQ bears prove an hourly lower high here or not? Still a 5-minute uptrend. So we would have to see bears continue to prove a lot if we were going to see more significant consolidation take place. I'm going to take a little bit more profit in my NVDA short. All right, not just yet. See if we lose the 5-minute uptrend first. So at this point in time, I do not like bullish entries up here in crypto at these levels. If I'm a bull, I want to be patient. And it was the same thing after Friday. We got to be patient and wait for the daily higher low. And a bull that has been waiting that long might say, oh man, I missed another 4% to the upside. And that's true. But again, it's just risk reward, where the risk of making bullish entries up here, while not in a daily uptrend at this point, are not favorable in my opinion. So waiting for that daily higher low, and in a best case scenario, the bulls would hold EMA 12 on a pullback here, because that would keep it a daily bull flag. So best case scenario would be Bitcoin daily EMA 12 support hold into a confirmed uptrend. And then from there, we zoom out to watch our weekly EMA 12, which is back in the picture. And then, of course, our weekly level of 25.2, which needs to break if we're going to confirm a weekly uptrend. Bulls also want to see first hourly oversold conditions lead to that daily higher low. If the bulls are going to be their strongest, we will see aggressive dip buying of first hourly oversold conditions, setting that daily higher low. At this point in time, we haven't seen 15-minute oversold since the bull break. We have seen 5-minute hit oversold, and the bulls have been buying those dips. And that's why we're still grinding higher, is because bulls are buying short-term oversold conditions. So once we roll over into more significant pullback, I'll then be watching for first hourly oversold conditions to be looking for the daily higher low. The dominance chart is still very strong, which is showing us Bitcoin leading the way. There's definitely individual altcoins that are leading the way. Taking some more profit. There's definitely some more altcoins that are leading the way more significantly, but it's not the overall. You can see Bitcoin right now is number 3 on the day, which doesn't happen very often, but there's a whole bunch of red out there. So essentially altcoins are consolidating while Bitcoin is still slowly grinding up, is what is taking place right now. And this dominance bounce is very significant. You can see the daily RSI significantly cooling off. The weekly, it's the biggest bounce we've seen in months on the weekly time frame. So ideal scenario for the crypto space, I would say would be, well, I mean, it doesn't really matter to me who leads for the weekly trend changes. Whether it's altcoins first and then Bitcoin second, or Bitcoin first and then altcoin second. Just want to ensure that all names confirm weekly trend changes. Some have already done so, not many. And again, my probability for whether or not these crypto bulls can change weekly trends will significantly shift into more favorable probabilities if we confirm daily trend changes once we top out. Because what happened right now is the scales tilted, obviously, where for weeks we had supply of coins outweighing demand. And then rather than having a slow shift, we kind of just went like this. And so now demand for coins has been exceeding supply significantly. That's going to top out soon. And then we'll see the daily consolidation begin. Once it tops out and the scales flip back again, and demand, or I should say supply for coins starts outweighing demand, can it then flip back again? That's essentially what a daily trend change is. So demand is outweighing supply now, supply outweighing demand on daily consolidation, and can the bulls flip it right back to see some follow through? So the low on the weekly time frame is in for a good bit, in my opinion. It's just a question of, can we break resistance? Ethereum heading into the merge. How are we holding up? We are pulling back on the daily. Daily consolidation is underway right now. Anything above 1489 is a daily high or low. We're watching the hourly downtrend. You can be watching the 4-hour downtrend. You can be watching the 12-hour uptrend. 12 hours trying to hold EMA 12. So people right now are going to be looking at, my phone is blowing up. Leave me alone. So Ethereum, you could look at it and say, you know, ETH BTC, when we checked in on Friday, we were watching, is this a potential head and shoulders pattern? And the answer is yes, it's a 12-hour head and shoulders that confirmed. When we checked in on Friday, we were testing the support, and I highlighted how if we bounce, we still have to be watching for the potential of the head and shoulders. So if I only look at this chart, I would say we're seeing a sell the news event start. Ethereum is significantly weakening compared to Bitcoin. That is a true statement. Ethereum, one of those is a true statement. Ethereum is significantly weakening comparative to Bitcoin over the last 4 or 5 days. That's a fact. 4 days, we'll call it. But so are all other altcoins. This is not specific to Ethereum. This is because the dominance chart has a 4-day breakout. And if you look at any name here, there's the ghost, ADA BTC, 12-hour BNB BTC, 12-hour time frame, LTC BTC, whatever you're looking at, it's all doing that. So really for me, this is just showing me that Ethereum is doing everything that all the other altcoins are doing. So at this point in time, I would not call this relative weakness specifically attributing to the merger. This is attributing to the crypto environment right now and what we're seeing across dozens of altcoins, not just Ethereum. So yes, Ethereum is weakening comparative to Bitcoin. Do I think it's because of the merger? I don't at this point. But we're going to be keeping an eye on the daily uptrend now because if ETH BTC keeps this weakness up or confirms a daily downtrend, then essentially I'm looking for ETH BTC to start showing us more weakness than all the other altcoins for me to say, okay, that's the merger sell the news event. But for now, I am not attributing that weakness to the merger. Some other coins that have been standing out notably, we've got Ape Ape had that 12-hour falling wedge that broke bull with very significant follow through. It's now topping out. I like the 12-hour time frame for clarity on a lot of altcoins. I can see for Ape, anything above 491 is a 12-hour high or low. 15-minute oversold bounce just took place. That's the first 15-minute oversold we've seen since 582, and that's a good bounce for the bulls. That's almost a 5% bounce? So plenty to be able to maneuver with in terms of, if I enter at 527 and I sell half at 537, I can now put a stop at 517 and be risk-free. And if that's a 12-hour high or low into continuation, I nailed it with a great position. And if it's not and we drop to a lower low, I don't lose $1. Again, that's how I personally try and play uptrends looking for continuation by selling partial positions to get some risk-free. We got some weakness now on QQQ, just lost the 5-minute uptrend, so hourly lower high potentially shaping up. NVDA saw another leg down. Its hourly lower high is potentially shaping up. I might try and swing trade the position that I've got remaining. We'll see, long ways to go still. How is Bitcoin responding to that? Still holding on to the 5-minute uptrend, but we're watching for the hourly lower high. An aggressive bear is watching for a top fish on Bitcoin right now because Bitcoin is holding up better than QQQ, but might start to shape up as a bit of a laggard if we lose the 5-minute uptrend from here. So aggressive bears, this is the kind of thing where, if I tried a couple bearish positions over the weekend and I stopped out, I then put myself in timeout and say, I'm done. I made a couple attempts. I took some small losses, but I'm not going to constantly keep trying. I give myself a couple attempts. And again, that's where having a level, a dollar level is so important, whether you call it a day maker, whatever it is. If I have a level where I say, okay, if I lose this amount, I'm done attempting that trade. And that can be a big help with our discipline as we try and stay disciplined as traders. So it's the kind of thing, would I be looking short right now? The answer is, if I haven't made any attempts, absolutely. I'm scouting short for daily consolidation for maybe a 2-day hold because I will be scouting daily higher lows once that daily consolidation begins. If I have stopped out of a couple attempts and, I've been looking bearish over the weekend, then I just patiently wait and scout a daily higher low and I just give up on that trade. And there's nothing wrong with that because clearly it's not working. And that just means be patient and wait for the next trade opportunity to present itself. So that would be up to you as the individual and how you've been trading recently. Binance BTC, we had a rising wedge rolling over. So we're definitely seeing some notable weakness of alts compared to Bitcoin. The question is, that won't matter if Bitcoin can confirm the weekly trend change. The altcoin weakness right now, if Bitcoin confirms a weekly trend change, we'll see the confidence and the profits flow from Bitcoin back to the altcoins for the altcoins to then play some catch up if Bitcoin can confirm the weekly trend change. Again, there's only 2 ways this plays out. We either confirm this trend change or we reject with a lower high and then break 18.5. And then bears resume their significant control. Some other altcoins that have been standing out, certainly today, it's Sol. So Sol getting a big spike up on the daily. And again, we're just seeing alts getting their individual turns one at a time. We had GMT act as a laggard, get a spike up. We had ADA get a spike up as a laggard. Now it's Sol's turn. Sol 1 hour EMA 12, 5-minute oversold conditions. Again, if I'm looking for a short-term oversold bounce play after a big bull move, my confidence is higher if there's an EMA 12 in play as well. So this bounce here from 3680, 5-minute oversold conditions, we saw a quick 1.8% bounce, a lower low with 0 follow through into a 2 point whatever percent bounce. So bulls trying to buy this dip to set that hourly higher low, and we will see bulls lose momentum if we confirm an hourly downtrend. So again, it's one of those scenarios where if I'm looking for just a day trade, I'm locking in my 1-2% move just for the quick little oversold bounce. If I'm trying to hold for the hourly higher low into continuation, then I'm selling partial and putting my stop under the low of 36.80. But the bigger picture daily charts matter to me. And because of where the daily charts stand and knowing that daily consolidation is inevitable, I would be more prone to be locking in bounce gains on short-term time frames versus trying to let a runner position play out. I will try and let a runner position play out entering on daily consolidation. If Bitcoin hits first hourly oversold conditions and bounces $800 and I can put, I can sell partial and put my stop under the low for risk-free or small risk, I'll do that because if that's the daily higher low, then I have a great swing position. So the 5-minute time frame, you think, well, the daily doesn't matter much, but what I want to do with this 5-minute bounce, how I want to treat it, just quick in and out or try and let it play out, the daily chart is a factor for that. So it is important to keep that in mind as well. Matic had some news. What was it? Was it Starbucks? Something with Matic. Not a huge move. Definitely had a response. It's that volume spike there, but then we gave a bunch back. Again, if I'm a bear that hasn't been losing trying to go bearish, I'm definitely watching for temporary tops. But I have to see it form in Bitcoin. I have to see a temporary top shaping up in Bitcoin if I'm going to have confidence that it's shaping up in altcoins as well. As far as weak names, who's weaker? So Ape had the big pullback here. We got a downtrending support line that we can be keeping an eye on. Here's the 15-minute. That's come into play. This looks like a megaphone. I'd be keeping an eye on that. Plenty of touches of both trend lines there. Burden on bulls to confirm a 15-minute trend change back in their favor. If they do, we'll zoom out and scout an hourly lower high. Volatility is definitely picking up in the market a little bit. Whenever the numbers on my Fidelity screen start flashing more, it means there's more volume coming in. Just because there's more orders going through. And the quotes flash to keep up with it. So long story short, very impressive bounce from the bulls. Definitely a sentiment shifter. Plenty of space for a daily high or low. I don't like bullish entries in the short term unless they're quick oversold bounce flips. Aggressive bears are definitely scouting daily consolidation. Patient bulls are waiting for daily consolidation. They're waiting for hourly oversold conditions. They're waiting for a daily high or low to try and set up to have a level to play off of. Because again, if I'm trying for a swing trade on Bitcoin, where's my stop go? Am I using 18.5? That is way too far away. That is way too much risk. As soon as we form a new high or low, that's now my benchmark level. That's now the must-hold level, and I can now greatly limit my risk by using that level. And so that's what a patient bull is waiting for. Give me a level on the daily to play that is nearby, and then we'll have something to go off of. A new bench, that's what I call a benchmark level, because we got nothing aside from 18.5. All right, I'm going to start reading the chat room here. Feel free. We'll start with some altcoin analysis. Then I'll skip altcoin analysis and start looking at other questions that are not chart related, or at least not specific chart related. Questions about SPY and other stocks. Again, I cover very in depth at the end of every day. 20-minute video. So that's the spot to look for in-depth broader market analysis. And I will be making that video in T-minus an hour and 47 minutes. We got 90 likes. We need 100, please. How to enter bearish for a daily lower high on Bitcoin? So there's a number of ways. Again, the answer is always, do you want to be aggressive or conservative? So if I want to be aggressive, I'm looking for a top fishing play. So an aggressive bear is saying this is a potential hourly head and shoulders. I'm entering bearish here. I'm putting my stop over the current high with a bit of wiggle room. And that's what an aggressive bear is attempting to do. A patient bear is waiting for the weakness to take place and then looking on a different time frame. So for example, if we pull back on the 4-hour time frame to 21.5, that then starts to create the space for a 4-hour lower high to be the result of the next bounce. And then if we confirm the 4-hour downtrend, daily consolidation is underway. So a patient bear wants to see signs of weakness. An aggressive bear is entering maybe even before any signs of weakness are showing. The aggressive bear has higher risk and higher reward. The probability that they're going to stop out is higher because they're trying to enter when there's not much sign of weakness. They're trying to enter right near that top. The patient bear is not going to be entering near the top, but they're going to sacrifice those amounts of gains to have the confidence by waiting. Essentially, you got to pay for time. You got to pay in less significant profits as a bear to see the weakness and then react to it after the weakness has presented itself. So if we lose 4-hour EMA 12 for the first time on this move, we know that the probabilities are more favorable than not that a 4-hour lower high is then going to be the most likely scenario. So a patient bear is waiting for the weakness, and then they scout the lower high, and then they hope for bear continuation into further daily consolidation. One more note, we've got CPI numbers tomorrow morning pre-market. We're going to see volatility and a reaction in the broader market and in crypto to CPI numbers tomorrow morning. I forget if it's 8 a.m. or 8:30, probably 8:30, but double check that. So that's a little news event that will bring volatility. So be aware of that. Am I planning on making any crypto daily high or low entries? For me, the way that I've been approaching crypto, because again, I focus on crypto when it's giving me opportunity that stocks are not. And that just hasn't been happening because it is, the more you correlate with the broader market, the more I'm just going to trade stocks for zero fees, use more capital, have 3 times leveraged ETFs, and the percentage moves can be matched. So what gets me to trade cryptocurrency is when there is opportunity in crypto that is not present in other markets, specifically the stock market. So that's when I'll start to shape my trading day around trading crypto, when there's opportunity there and not elsewhere. If it's doing the same thing as stocks, if I'm at the computer, I'm not gonna not go out Friday night to try and catch the daily high or low. I'm not going to wake up at 4 a.m. to try and catch the daily high or low. So if I'm sitting here at the computer during the trading day and hourly oversold conditions happen in Bitcoin, then yes, I will make a trade for that hourly oversold bounce and try and position for the daily high or low. But essentially, crypto is not doing enough different from the stock market to entice me to actively want to trade it outside of my trading. I'm on this computer doing work Monday through Wednesday, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. essentially, with some breaks in there. But so if it happens in that window, I'm here and I'm ready for it. But if it's not, no, it's just not worth it for me. I'm doing something else and I don't care what the chart's doing. It's really what it boils down to. And again, that's very different than it was in years past, but that is how I'm approaching right now to ensure my longevity as a trader so I don't go insane and burn myself out from so many hours at the screen. OP/USDT. So pulling back, 12-hour, a little bit choppy there. We'll go to the daily. So daily consolidation, clearly underway already. This is one of the weaker bounces. We're nowhere near the recent weekly top. I would call this, at this point in time, a potential weekly bear flag right now. Wrong drawing point. So we rejected right off 382 on the weekly bounce. So a weekly bear flag is still on the table. The bulls must see a daily high or low and continuation of this uptrend if we're going to start to negate the possibility of that weekly bear flag. So I said what Bitcoin wants to do, they want to backtest and hold EMA 12 support into continuation, and OP is already there. So if I'm looking at an altcoin that's doing this, I have to remind myself, okay, this altcoin is doing this and seeing this weakness. Bitcoin hasn't seen any weakness at this point. So what happens to OP if Bitcoin starts daily consolidation from here? The answer is OP probably sees another leg down and probably sees a good bit further weakness. So that's why it's so important to check Bitcoin, because if I'm only looking at OP, I'm saying, okay, I'm interested. Looking for the daily high or low, daily EMA 12. And it might not necessarily mean I don't take the trade scouting the daily high or low in OP, but it might mean that I'm more patient or that I'm using smaller capital because I don't have as much conviction. If Bitcoin was at daily EMA 12 right now and they were both trying to find that daily high or low at the same time, it would be much different than the current standpoint. But again, if Bitcoin sees even just 12-hour consolidation from here, then OP is likely to drop down and break 125 and see fresh lows. So just keep that in mind as well, that there are altcoins that are not positioned well for bulls if Bitcoin daily consolidation gets going. Samuel is late to the stream. I don't know if we can forgive you. Let me think about it. Can we discuss the Bitcoin weekly trend change in March that lacked follow-through? So a trend change that lacks follow-through means zoom out and scout a flag. So this was a bear flag on the monthly. Look at the retracement. And I think we were pretty on top of that as it was happening. I think we knew that we were scouting the monthly lower high. Retracement was about 40%. I would have to go back and look. And that's the beauty about these live streams. You can go back to the chart and say, okay, the bull break happened March 28th and watch the videos from early April and see, was it standing out? Were we recognizing the red flags and the potential monthly bear flag? I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think it presented itself fairly quickly. So it would be the same thing here. What if we break 25.2, get to 26.7, and then lose the daily uptrend? Absolutely, we're scouting a monthly bear flag. If we break weekly resistance, we need to maintain the daily uptrend from there for follow through. If you change the weekly trend and then lose the daily uptrend very shortly after, it is a red flag for the potential of a monthly lower high. How do I think tomorrow's inflation data will affect the markets? We're extended to the upside. If it's a bull reaction, I'm looking short. If it's a bear reaction, daily consolidation will be underway. We know that's inevitable. So I don't think there's going to be any massive surprises in terms of price action. It might be a little catalyst for a push into daily consolidation. But again, why guess? Because that's all it would just be a wild guess. And wild guesses don't go well for getting you profit as a trader. Any thoughts on the MJ sector? I put out an entire MJ specific video over the weekend with all of my thoughts. Any advice on getting better at flipping positions? For example, going long immediately after closing a short. I have trouble with that as well. Unless I know well in advance that that's what I'm looking to do, I very rarely will go right back into the opposing direction. Very rarely. And it's something that would be nice to get better at. But I think it's important. I mean, some people can do it for sure, but I think it's important for most traders to close out a trade and then take a mental lap, take a deep breath and reset and then start fresh, as opposed to just constantly in a trade, out a trade, in a trade. And I think that can be a little bit more mentally taxing. And of course, the timing is obviously very difficult to be able to exit right near a bottom or top and then flip to the other direction right in perfect timing. Again, it's possible to do, but I have not come close to mastering that. And I'm not even sure that that's a goal that I have. I wouldn't say that there's no point in trading crypto over the weekend because there was plenty of opportunity this weekend. So Bitcoin continued to grind up, but I mean, you look at Ape just as an example on Friday, and from this inside bar bull break on Saturday, we went up 13%. So there's definitely opportunity there. And again, sentiment, closing up at the highs on Friday in stocks and closing strong in crypto, that sentiment carries over into the weekend. And this weekend was a perfect example of that. And so that just meant bulls were more aggressive scouting bullish plays. There was another 15-minute falling wedge. I forget who it was. I posted about it on Twitter. But there was a Bitcoin 15-minute falling wedge that confirmed. I'll just pull up this post. So there's a Bitcoin 15-minute falling wedge that confirmed over the weekend. And then later, GMT gave us one. And so we had a little bit more confidence because we just saw Bitcoin do it earlier. So GMT is at 4-hour EMA 12 support. That's one confluence of signals. 15-minute potential falling wedge. Bitcoin just confirmed a 15-minute falling wedge earlier in the day. This one is more long and drawn out, but it's the same pattern. And we ended up having a bull break from that. Granted, we gave it back eventually, but that was a bull break of almost 5%. So there's a day trade opportunity there. And again, it's just that sentiment. Bulls can trust a falling wedge more on an altcoin if Bitcoin just did the same thing and broke it bullish, keeping the 4-hour uptrend going. QQQ still staying strong. Tightening 30-minute range here, a little 30-minute equilibrium. Bitcoin in response. Still keeping the 5-minute uptrend alive, but still watching for the potential of an hourly lower high. Adam, all right, this is the last chart we're going to look at. And I'll rip through and see if I can answer any questions quickly. Clearly watching this downtrending support line for over the weekend, and it keeps coming back into play here. 15-minute trend change attempt. I don't like the 15-minute for clarity. So I would call this an hourly bounce attempting to get going, but we're struggling at 1548. There's multiple tops up at 1548. Looking at the 12-hour for clarity, we're confirming a 12-hour downtrend. We're on the verge of it here. So that's a red flag of losing bullish momentum. Most altcoins, if we just go down our list real quick, they're looking for 12-hour higher lows. Ape is scouting a 12-hour higher low. Link, still a 12-hour uptrend. ETH. Sushi's less clear, but a great majority of these names, XTZ, we're scouting 12-hour higher lows. ADA. So any name that has lost the 12-hour higher lows stands out as weakening. And so Atom, granted we can still watch this downtrending support line as a visual guide, and if we keep holding it, then that's a win for the bulls. But to break this resistance straight into a break of support means, number one, watch for a megaphone, but also we are weakening comparative to a good number of other coins. I'd be keeping an eye on that right there. But if I'm a bear, so this is what I was talking about. If I'm a bear wanting to be patient, we've now got a decent amount of space for a 4-hour lower high to be the result of the next bounce. Anything under 1652. So we can bounce 6% more from here and just be looking for a 4-hour lower high to be the result of that bounce. So if I missed this move or if I was not confident as a bear, but now that I've seen this, I can say, okay, I saw a sign of weakness. Now I'm scouting the lower high after seeing that weakness. It's making me a bit more confident to scout that lower high from here. I do not have a Telegram. The Telegrams are all scammers. We have a Slack chat room. Glad it helps stock splaining. Okay, yes, I should clarify. The Trader Pro alert system is different than our Slack chat room. So we use Slack chat room for TCG membership. If anyone's messaging you on Telegram, it's a scammer. Just keep it simple. As much as I love you, I'm not going to be private messaging you out of the blue randomly. How involved am I with the swing report? I personally educated everybody that makes it. So I'm not doing the picks myself, but Lamont, certainly very capable, is one of the masterminds. Lori, definitely a significant aspect as well. Jungle Funk Joey. So essentially, everybody that works for the Chart Guys right now, pretty much everybody, started as a member. And it's all the people that showed that they get all the concepts, that they're highly motivated, that they are able to teach the concepts that I have taught them very well. So it's essentially just creating a bunch of mini-me's, and then of course they develop their own styles off of that foundation that I give them. So it's a team collaborative effort, but I am not the actual picker of those plays. What's the current relationship with Bitcoin in the stock market? Very correlated and slightly stronger. Slightly stronger over the last week, which has been a bit of a shift. When I lose a trade, what's the most important thing I focus on? Depends on the size. If it's just a tiny, little half-day loser, a third of a day loser. Like I started off this week trying to short I forget what it was, probably NVDA. I don't remember. I started with a short this morning and exited half break even. And then once I started to see some red flags, and then exited the other half with maybe a third of a day loser. I don't even think twice about it. It's such a small loss. That happens all the time. If it's a solid loss, if I had a day loser, then it's something that I can reflect back on and look to learn from and say, okay, what could I have done a little bit differently? And then it's a little bit more serious. So it depends on what kind of loss it is. And of course, if it's a bigger loss than a day loser, then why didn't I stick to my stop loss? That requires taking a step back and reflecting on discipline and psychology and bigger picture concepts than just, what trade pattern could I have seen differently? So I would say it depends on the kind of loss as to how to approach it. All right. I appreciate you all tuning in. So again, in the short term, just not comfortable with long entries aside from short-term little day trades until we see daily consolidation. Bitcoin bull is extremely impressive. No doubt about it. A bunch of bears put underwater. Pretty much anybody that was short over the last 3 weeks is in the red in just a number of days. We have to confirm the daily trend changes in both the S&P 500 and in crypto. CPI numbers tomorrow are either going to be a catalyst for daily consolidation or, in my opinion, a final push up before that daily consolidation begins. And it's all about the weekly. If we confirm weekly trend changes in the broader market, and if the dollar continues to weaken from here, again, people will start talking about all-time highs in the S&P 500 a lot more again. And then people will be talking about Bitcoin 35,000 again. Bigger picture, what Bitcoin's really going to have to do here, I mean, it's one time frame at a time. We saw a big enough daily bounce. Okay, can we change the daily trend? We see a big enough weekly bounce. Can we change the weekly trend? We need a big enough monthly bounce so we can try and change the monthly trend. So if we confirm the weekly trend change, the next most important thing for me is monthly EMA 12 resistance on a back test, because we held it as support on the way up. And if we reject from it from resistance, then maybe we just form a quick monthly lower high. But we'll cross that bridge when we reach it. We'll certainly talk before then. So anticipating the daily consolidation will be underway, more likely than not, by the time we speak again this Wednesday. Don't forget to do good things. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in.